everybody. So I decided to do a special video to help out everybody during this time with quarantine hair. So a lot of clients have reached out to me. They're worried about messing up what they have going on with the ends, but their roots are unbearable at this point. And I came up with the idea to create a little video with some tips and a little bit of guidance through this so that it doesn't go horribly wrong. So as a professional, we have processes down that we do every time without thinking about it, without realizing it. However, we do customize our work with each individual person. So I want to start by saying that I'm going to give a few tips for different scenarios. So do pay attention to what I'm discussing at that moment specifically so that you don't go in the wrong direction. So this is going to be a general video. As far as root application, I am going to discuss a couple of fundamentals, which are your basics, things that if you understand, it's going to take you a long way, whether you're doing your own hair or you're doing this for someone else. Some people might have help with this process, which I actually encourage. So if we're not talking about your hair, cool. I might mention some tips that are going to help with other situations. Okay, so first I'm going to start by showing you what you'll absolutely need. I am creating some kits for my clients. If you are not an existing client, reach out and we can create something for you specifically. I will need a lot more information if you're not my existing client, because obviously I don't know your hair. So real quick, we have a spray water bottle. We have a big tooth comb plastic. We have plastic gloves. We have, this is called a rat tail comb. These are the clips I use. There are different kinds that you can get. Some of them are like a claw. Those are fine too. I'm just, you know, for the sake of giving you a list of things you need. These are the clips I use. Doesn't mean they're the right ones. They're just the ones I use. And this is a little mixer. If you don't have one of these, that's okay, but they are very helpful. So if you can get one of these, or again, talk to me and I can get one of these to you. These are great for mixing. The thing you want to do is create as much organization and process as possible, because when you're coloring your hair at home, and some of you have done this already or seen others do it, it can make a really big mess. It can get out of control. I mean, you can get color on the walls, you can get color just everywhere, and it is permanent most of the time and it will not come off. So if you have anything you like that you care about, don't do it in that area. Don't do it in your living room. Don't do it on carpet. Don't do it on or around anything that you can't wipe off easily. Okay, if you do get color in areas that you don't want immediately, get alcohol on the area. Peroxide is also helpful, hairspray, and that'll prevent the color from absorbing any further. It'll kind of stop its activation process and stop it from working or expanding in the area and then taking hold of its stain, okay? So those are important things to remember. If you don't have a cutting cape or a smock, which I'm sure you don't, again, if you need one, talk to me. I can send you one. It's really nice to be covered. If you don't have one of those things, get a towel you don't care about, dark color if possible. That way you can't see the stain if it does happen, and clip it at the neck. And then your arms can be free, or the person working on you can do that. Okay, so let's get started. Oh, and I didn't mention the color in any of this. I do personally prefer you get the color from me. That way it matches what you already have and I don't have to fix it later because it's gone in the wrong direction and you can't live with it and now it's a color correction, okay? So be aware of what you're putting into your hair. Box color is super scary. It's meant to do one job. It's one box. It's not custom. I'm going to talk a lot about customization because we all have different hair. We all have different textures, porosity, damage, length, technique. I mean, there's so many different factors. So you don't want to just go get a box and say, I want to look like that girl and believe that it's going to happen. It really doesn't work that way. So with that said, there is permanent color, there is semi-permanent color, there is demi, and then there is a gloss. So I'm going to explain those all to you because some people don't follow direction and are going to go get a box and they're going to say, I know what to do. She showed me in the video. These fundamentals are important for that reason because it is confusing when you are not licensed and informed with the fundamentals, okay? So permanent. The best way for me to explain that is a lot like a window and you're painting over it with solid color. It is no longer a window. You cannot see through it, okay? And then there is what's called a semi-permanent, and that isn't going to cover the window in the same way, like in a solid way. It's going to be more like a watercolor where you can, it's going to cover it while it's there, but you can hose it off. And it's not going to just come off. You're going to have to scrub it. It's going to take some time, but it's going to be covered, not as much as the permanent, but pretty solid until you start, you know, breaking it up and removing it. And then we'll go to like a gloss. A gloss just sits on the surface. It's kind of like a tint, like you're tinting the window. And the gloss, you pull off the surface. It just sits on the surface and it's like nothing happened. So with the gloss, the more washes, it'll break its hold and then it'll just dissipate like nothing ever happened. A lot of people understand this as a toner. So when they get highlights and they maybe don't like the color and they want something different, maybe not as brassy, maybe not as warm, maybe they have something new and then they had something else going on so they want it all balanced, you're going to put a gloss in to balance that out. And the gloss, like I said, it's not permanent, so it's not going to cover those highlights like a color would, okay? And then with pigment, so this is kind of like a shade perspective. So shades are kind of like your reds, and then those are your warm tones, and then your cools go down to like blues, violets. So they're cooler tones. So that's going to be what a semi, a demi, and a gloss, where you're more focused on the color you're putting in than how dark it is. The pigment is going to actually be how dark it is, which starts at a level 1, how light it is, which ends at a 10, I'm sorry. So if you're looking at blondes, your numbers are going to be a 7 and above. If you're looking at mediums, you're looking at a 5, 6, 7. When you're looking at darks, you're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4. And those are darker tones. So do be aware of the numbers on your box. I know that sometimes they're like, honey mocha latte, and it's like, you know, for us it's like, well, how dark is that? What pigments are in it? So a professional will read colors as numbers. A 5 usually means red, occasionally it's a 6, otherwise it's vice versa. That's a violet. Some cases it depends on the color line. A violet is a 2. So if you can read those numbers, do so, or those letters, those abbreviations. Because some people absolutely hate red or copper, and they just bought a brown that is a lot of copper and a lot of red. They're gonna absolutely hate it, but the box looks mocha, and that's more of a violet. So be aware of those things. Okay, so that's the color. That's why I didn't show any. So when you mix it up, if you're getting it from me, I'm gonna have little plastic containers that have the perfect amount pre-measured. If you go get it in a box, I would say get more than not, because a lot of time people will run out and they'll go hot and heavy on, say, one side, and then they run out and there's not enough for this side, and then they go back and buy more and they mix it slightly different. So your mixing is super important. It'll look completely different. If it's more diluted, if there's more developer in it, it'll lighten, it'll take the strength away from the pigment and the color itself. The developer is what starts it, so it starts working. So be aware of that, your portions and your measurements. I use a scale, so because I'm that precise. There are also like measuring spoons. It'll say, depending on the color line, if it's equal parts, if it's 1-to-2 ratio, meaning one tube is like, say, 2 ounces, and it's 2 parts developer, you would put in 4 ounces. So pay attention to that stuff. It makes all the difference. Okay, now the parting part, okay? So what I like to do is something like this, because I have longer hair. This is going to help me get through quicker. So I call what's around your face your comfort area. This is what everybody sees, especially if they have gray. They're going to see it in this area here, in this, when they pull their hair back. So you always want to start in the areas that are exposed. So if you're doing just roots, you're going to start by doing all the way around your face and then the whole bottom. You're going to get all of this done first, okay? And then for me, I like portion control. So what I'll do is I'll go down the middle and then I'll continue that in the back. So kind of like a pigtail situation, but I'll part that in half. So from ear to ear. So if you can, ideally twist it, because like I said before, the more control that you have over your hair, the better, okay? And then again, so like a headband, you know, ear to ear, twist that up, clips. If you can have at least 4, that would be the ideal situation. And then again, twist so that your hair's not flopping all over, okay? And then so what you're gonna wanna do, again, so do all of those 4 sections after you do around your face, okay? So that's how you're gonna wanna do if you do just, I want it even, I'm gonna create a system, you know, if you wanna go that way. I know I look so cute, don't I? Look so silly. Okay, so a lot of you have a dominant part that you focus on. For me, I can part my hair any direction. A lot of people just have this like, my part is right here and that's where it has to be and that's where I want it. Cool. Start there. Start in the area that you always see. That's your comfort area. Okay, so you're always going to want to start right in that area that you see the most. So what you're going to do again, so I'm going to change my part now because I'm starting in a whole nother area. Get the hair out of the area, like your way if possible, so that you don't mess it up. So right now we're talking about just doing the roots. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull all of this out of my way. If you want to do another preventative step that I highly recommend, if you have highlights, balayage, any really technical work in the ends, you want to protect it and you don't want a bunch of spots and you don't want all your hair one color. So what you're going to do is you're going to take the area that you're going to start with, which I'm choosing this side because I did a part on this side, pretending that's where I always put my part, right? So what you're going to do is you're going to pull the hair apart so it's like not tangled. See how you could see like the different sections? So you're going to do that. You're going to get the first section and get conditioner. Cheaper conditioner is better because you don't want to waste it if you're using really good stuff. But conditioner is going to repel the color. So if you get drips or the color starts to come into your ends, it's going to repel it. I'm not saying push for getting color on it. Do avoid it at all costs. But this is going to help if a spot or, you know, anything occurs. It's going to prevent it from creating a bunch of spots. So this is a way to prevent messing up all the work you have done, okay? So get the conditioner, pull it through the ends. Next section, I'd say about 1 inch. next section. And the reason that I'm saying that you want to put the conditioner in sections is because when you start coloring your hair, the conditioner is going to start holding on to itself and it's going to be harder to work through, okay? And you don't want to have to handle the ends with your gloves that have color on them because you will get spots. Okay, so conditioner, 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 right? Okay, so what I like to do is, you know, glove up. I'm not putting them on. This is a bowl, this is a brush. I have some of these that I can send in the kits if you need. If you have this, great. If you need it, let me know. Okay, so I'm going to have it pre-measured for you. You're going to mix it in here. You know, if you don't have one of these, that's fine. You can stir with this. We all know how to stir. If you're a cook, you're a little bit better at getting it nice and consistent and thinner, so that you don't see areas of color chunks in the creamy developer, okay? So you'll just start to see a more even texture. Okay, so you have color in here. Don't put a crap ton of color on here if you don't want it in your ends. If you start, you know, just getting big chunks and going like this, it's going to get sloppy fast and there's a good chance that you're going to run out of color before you're done. So just get a little color, just make sure one side has it, not both, because if you have color on both sides, there's a good chance that you're going to pull up and then this is just going to fall on the wall. Like, it can get crazy, you guys. Be very mindful of how much product you're actually using. Okay, so I got my part. So I am going to start working my way down, up to down when it's around the face, okay? So I started there. Section, I'd say less than an inch for sure, especially I have coarser, thicker hair. Everybody has different hair. If your hair's thinner, your sections could be a little thicker. If your hair's really thick, coarse, if it's curly, your sections are going to have to be smaller, unfortunately. So you're going to part it, go one direction all the way back, down, all the way back, get another good dip in there, part it, forward, back, forward, back. Next section, go ahead and part it before you get any color if that makes it easier. If you find that you're using maybe a runnier color that's starting to drip, it can drip, you guys. Start forward, backward, forward, backward. Next. And sometimes you didn't get rid of all your color. That's why I'm kind of just moving along. It's out of instinct. Okay, so you're going to move all the way down, all the way to the ear. You already got around the ear, like I said, get around the base. But you're going to just want to double check that because, again, these are comfort areas that you see really quickly when you pull the hair back. And you don't want spots there. You want it to look as professional as possible. Okay, so once we got all of that, get a towel also that you can wipe your gloves off every time you're handling the ends. Again, the conditioner is helpful, but you can make mistakes, especially when you're more focused on in front of the mirror and not things that you're not necessarily seeing, okay? So clean your hands off, pull that hair down, kind of run through, and clip it, okay? That area that you did, just do a clip. The more organized your hair is, the less it starts getting chaotic and you don't lose your way. You will get a rhythm back down in time and you will do so much better at just knowing what to do next without thinking. So part it out. Okay, you're here. Take your barrette out. Again, do the sections with conditioner if you need. Okay, until you get to the top. And then, again, part going back, from the front back, from the front back, part, from the front back, from the front back. Okay, we get that, right? Okay, so now you did the front, and both of your areas are little pigtails again, I'm hoping. That tells me you're still in control of what's going on here. We did part the back into 2 pigtails, remember? So what we're gonna do now, and this is what makes it easiest for me, okay? I have already went down the center. I've already created, this is out of my way, so it's not necessarily gonna fall into my way. So start down the middle. Something I find when people do at-home box color is this area here is where they miss, okay? This is where you can tell that they did it at home. So be mindful of this area. You're so focused on the front, and then you get excited to get it over with, and then you just start doing this to the ends. And then all of this is completely dry and exposed, especially the wind will hit, whatever. This area will be exposed and you will see the difference, okay? So go down the middle. If you part it this way, go that direction first, okay? Cater to the side that you part it the majority of the time to get your coverage. So you're gonna go down, down, down like this way, and then this way, because I started this way. And then this part is gonna kind of throw you guys all off a little bit, but this is how you get perfection. Okay, so let's pretend I got all the way up this way, right? In front of my face, and then down, downward. Now you're gonna cross check. So what you're gonna do with the cross checking is start in the side that you did first. So we went downwards, right? So now we're just gonna go up. So we're gonna pull towards our face, go forward. And you'll sometimes just see the pockets that you missed. And so with hair, it's, see, I dropped that. If this had color on it, it would fall on my carpet and it would have a big old colored stain. So that's what I'm saying. Do it in a restroom, do it in a kitchen. Okay, so downward, downward, downward. And then just check for those pockets, okay? And then in the back, so do the front first, this way, this way, this way. And then in the back, since we went that way, we're gonna go straight across like the ear to ear section, and you're gonna go forward, pull it to the side. There is conditioner in it probably, so that's gonna give it a little bit more weight. Okay, and then just go forward with it, okay? Don't worry about both sides, you can't see them. You're gonna get lost there, so just go forward. Next, and remember, this is a cross check. Forward, 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 forward. Next line. Okay, and then for those of you that have all one color throughout, you don't want to just get all the color on the ends every time, because what's going to happen is you're going to keep opening that hair shaft to add that permanent color over and over and over to the point where it's going to stop holding on to color, and you're going to struggle with keeping it shiny and vibrant, and it's also going to fade easier. So you really want to get the root. If you want to refresh, get the big tooth comb and then just comb it down, okay? And this will allow you to get, it depends on if you have like a balayage or an ombre in the ends. You can blend it just a tiny bit. Be mindful of where you stop. If you see your lighter starts like here, you could even clean off your glove, you know, with the color, hold the hair in the area, kind of creating a little bit of a buffer, a bumper, and then just go down. But if you can blend that, that would be nice, because you're not going to have that perfect line of where you did your color. And like I said, the more control that you keep, the better. So you can just, in the ends, and remember, you do have conditioner in the ends if you add it. So if you comb it down just a tiny bit, it's not going to kill all of this stuff, but it'll definitely help with the blending. Okay, everybody, I hope that helps, and I hope that you learned some new things, and I hope it's useful, and keep in touch with me and let me know what I can do to help you out.